Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the HG Revive Gouf. Yes, we have the latest in the HG Revive line, and this is definitely another kit that definitely needed a revive, I would say, and I think a lot of people would agree. So it should be really cool. All of the Revive kits so far have been really great quality, so I'm expecting nothing less for this one. To be honest, I'm not the biggest Gouf fan out there. The Gouf Custom is probably one of my favorite mobile suits designs ever, but the regular Gouf, not as much, even though it's barely different. I think there is just a little bit more level of badass in the Gouf Custom that the regular Gouf just doesn't have, but the regular Gouf is still a pretty cool design. So, and I think that the design of this version definitely looks better than the original HG, and probably the Master Grade as well, but again, that could just be personal preference. So we'll go ahead and check it out. And before we start, I just want to say a big thank you, of course, to MindFenix Hobby Store, again, for sending me this kit to share with you guys. I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. Like I said, I've really enjoyed all of the Revive kits so far, so I expect I'm going to really enjoy this kit as well. 2016 release, this has only been out for a couple weeks now. To be honest, I haven't really looked at any information about this kit so far, so I really don't know too much about the kit technically before going into it, so I'll just say that. Just going around the box here. On this side, this is 196 in line. We still, at the point of recording this video, we still have not got word what the number 200 kit is going to be in the HGUC line, but hopefully it's going to be something really cool. Who knows, maybe that could be a Revive Zaku. I know I've seen some people theorizing that, but there's really no way of knowing at this point. Front and back look at the Gouf here. Looking very blue, of course. And then here, action shots. Pretty cool action shot there. And this one as well, so obviously the kit's going to be very posable. And then here, weapons and gimmicks. It has some really nice mobility. It has the fingers, the mono eye can move, shoulders can come out. All that's really nothing new, but it is going to make this kit pretty nice. So there are some technical specs here, typical of an HGUC kit. A little bit about the story there with a CG image. Looks like, no, it's an image of the kit, but it looks even more CG than usual. And then the list price of 1,500 yen. So I think making this one of the more expensive in the Revive series so far, but we'll see if that's warranted. I'm sure it is. Here we've got some blue and gray parts, which is pretty much all that's really going to be in here. So we do have a couple different shades of blue, regular blue and a lighter blue. There's our, looks like movable part there for the whip. We do have some orange too, I forgot about that. A few clear orange parts for the sword blades and a darker gray for the feet and all of that. We'll take a closer look at all that stuff momentarily. For the manual, it's going to be a typical HGUC manual there, the name there at the top, technical specs here, big reference photo here on the front with all of that. So that's pretty nice. Here on the back, again, same kind of stuff we saw on the outside of the box, the weapons, heat saber, heat rod, shield, and a different hand options we've got there. Then color guide here at the bottom. Opening it up to the inside, again, more information here about the Gouf itself and the same kind of action poses we saw on the outside of the box. The handle for the heat saber can be stored inside the shield, which is pretty cool. And we do have two of them, so I guess you're only really going to be able to store one inside the shield though, and I guess you're really only going to be able to hold one too, so why do we have two of them? I don't know, don't really quite understand that, but we do have two, right? Okay, yeah, we do have two, so I don't know. Interesting, we'll see. Here in the instructions, this is really interesting. Now again, like I said, I haven't really looked into too much information about this kit, but I'm seeing A runner and B runner has a couple X-dot parts, A runner has a couple X-dot parts, the C runner has quite a few X-dot parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 looks like, 7. So that makes me think that maybe this is borrowing some of these runners from the Gouf R35. I know a lot of people were guessing that when the Revive Gouf was announced, that it was going to be using parts from the Gouf R35. I think even before before this Revive Gouf was announced, I saw people saying online that, you know, if we get a Revive Gouf, it's going to be using parts of the Gouf R35. I don't know. Haven't looked at the runners yet. That could be wrong. We'll see when we take a look at the runners how they're marked, if they're marked for Gouf R35 or if the year is not 2016. Then we could be looking at some stuff that's not entirely new, which is a little bit disappointing, but you know, if it works well, then that's what counts, right? So construction is going to be starting off with the torso, head, legs, right leg, left leg, then moving on to the skirt, putting that all together, putting on the head, then moving on to the arms last, putting all that together before we get to our color page, where we're going to be assembling the weapons, which really should be pretty simple. Just a couple pieces, just snip, snap together, and then just how to equip everything, all pretty straightforward. So let's get a look at those runners. Starting off with our foil sticker, here is just the one sticker for the mono eye, and do be aware that the top part is like a little bit flat. It's not a perfect circle, so there is going to be a specific orientation when you're putting this on, so just make sure you're aware of that if you're going to be using the sticker. PC002 for our polycaps, again, nothing new here. And then the A runner here in this sort of lighter of our two blue colors. Yeah, I had to check to be sure this is the lighter color. And yeah, if the shape of the runner wasn't a dead giveaway that this is not new parts, you can tell by the marking that this is definitely not going to be new parts. This is stuff that we have seen before, I'm guessing with the Gouf R35, because here on the front we've just got HG 1/44 scale Gouf, which is not too surprising, that's what you would expect, but on the back we can see that the year is 2014, which is definitely not this year and not new, so that means that, yeah, some of this stuff is going to be from the Gouf R35. Next up is our B runner with a bunch of parts here in gray, most of the joint parts and stuff. Now, if we were going to be getting stuff from the Gouf R35, I didn't really expect it, but I thought, well, if we do, it's probably just going to be the joint parts, this runner here. So this one I'm not really too surprised about it being recycled, but the armor parts I was still a little bit surprised about that. But I guess I really shouldn't be, I suppose. But yeah, so these parts are also still not new. The C runner here, back to the lighter blue color, and again, these are parts from the Gouf R35, again, not new parts, but there are quite a few parts on here that we're not going to be using. That would be mostly parts for the left hand. I remember it was like 4 parts on this side, which is parts for what would be the left hand, and then 2 parts here, which would be the left hand covers, and then this shield, we're going to have a totally new shield piece, which I'm guessing is not going to be too different, but only slightly different. So maybe you're going to have that option if the inner piece will fit on there. I don't know, maybe you have this option, but I'm guessing there's going to be a little bit of a difference. We'll check it out in the review anyway. The runner D is getting to our dark blue colors, and this one again is still nothing new yet. It's still from 2014, but we can see there are definitely parts of the runner that are cut off that were specific for the Gouf R35. Runner E, here molded in a much darker gray. This is just for a few parts here for the handles of the heat sabers, the feet, kneecaps, and then the chest piece there as well. And once again, from 2014 still. Runner F is our clear orange piece, once again, still from 2014. Just 2 heat saber blades there and 1 chest piece. Now it's kind of making a little bit more sense of why we have 2 heat sabers, because the Gouf R35 had 2 of them, whereas this kit can only really hold 1. But we do have 2. I guess if you really wanted, you could just, instead of making the gun hand, you could make the regular left hand, and you could use both of these if you want. Runner G1 is back to light gray, and this is going to be our part for the heat rod, and it is sort of molded specifically here to fit into the hand at the end, but then this part should be malleable, as you can like bend it around in different shapes. We'll see how well it holds shapes in the review. And then runner G2 as well is also sort of softer plastic, but this is for the energy cables around the waist and around the head of the Gouf, once again in the lighter of the 2 blue colors. And finally, runner I. This is the first and only runner in the box that is totally new, 2016. So that is kind of a little bit disappointing. I don't know. Again, as long as the kit, you know, does what it's supposed to do and it's a good kit, then that's really all I care about. But the fact that, you know, what, 85% of parts that are going to be going into this are 2 years old just seems a little bit lazy, but I guess it's not really lazy, it's just resourceful on Bandai's part, I guess. So good on them. I guess, again, we'll just see how the kit comes out in the review, but I'm sure it'll be fine. One thing I can tell already is that it looks like the fingers there, the gun fingers do all have their individual ball joints, so they're molded together. Let me give you a closer look. They're molded together, but you should be able to cut and separate those. So we'll take a look at that again in the review, and I'll maybe just do a separate video on just how to do that. It's pretty simple, but just in case anyone needs some help with doing that. So that's going to be it for unboxing the HGUC Revive Gouf. Again, just sort of mixed feelings about it being mostly an older kit, but it's really not that old, so I don't know. Yeah, it was just kind of a little bit disappointing. When you are unboxing something new, you want it to be all new, right? So, I don't know. Whatever. I shouldn't really complain about that. I'm just going to build it first, and then we'll talk about that more in the review. Thank you guys for watching. If you do have any other questions or comments, do leave those down below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the review coming up next. Bye-bye.